everybody. Happy new week. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm super excited to have one of my newest hot off the press published authors, Kate Glancey, next to me. Hi, Kate.
Good morning. How are you, Nat?
I'm amazing. Ready for another week. Always just getting a bit pumped for the week. And I know a lot of people that watch these interviews. It's a way they can get inspired and get the energy. Actually, you are the one who does watch them, kind of on Mondays, from the authors, which has been amazing. And we always see you comment and all that sort of stuff. So it's a great way to start the week. Amazing. All right. So guys, let me introduce you who Kate is and show us your book anyway. Right at the beginning, she wrote this book, Drop the Act, and Start Living Your Extraordinary Life. So I'll give you the official introduction and then we'll get stuck into the amazing value that Kate's going to share with us this morning. All right. So Kate Glancey is a highly sought after psychologist in the Macarthur region of Southwest Sydney. She has more than 24 years experience in private practice and is now the published author of the book, Drop the Act. After facing her own greatest challenge, she embarked on a journey of personal growth where she discovered that from her greatest weaknesses came her greatest strengths. Over the last 5 years, Kate has facilitated holistic wellness programs with her partner, where the power of holistic psychology together with shamanic energy healing has assisted many individuals transform their own lives. The wisdom shared through Kate's real-life accounts are inspirational and uplifting. Her storytelling is both personable and down-to-earth and will empower you to become the creator of your own existence and live the freedom of an extraordinary life. I love that. Thank you so much for making the time to share all of this with us. And I guess let's get started into the catalyst that made this book come into reality. Had you been thinking for a while? Give us the backstory.
The backstory. Okay, so the very, very backstory, and I mentioned this in my book, actually, over the last 10 years, I've had 2 psychics tell me that I would write a book one day. And of course, I was all very skeptical and thought, oh, that's the thing that authors do. I'm not an author. And but along the way, I've had many people say to me, you should write a book, you should write a book. And I often thought, I don't know what I would write a book about. I don't really want to write a psychology textbook. But my now partner was actually the big catalyst when she basically said, okay, let's do it. You're writing this book. And I was like, what do you mean you're writing a book? All those big fears and self-doubts very quickly came to the surface. But I actually did start writing, and I sort of didn't really have a plan of what I was going to write about. I just started writing, and I started writing what just was coming to me. And I got about halfway through this book, and then I thought, what do you actually do with the book if you write it?
Yes.
I don't know what you do with a book. Is this just going to sit on my computer for the next, 20 years? And a little bit of Googling. And of course, whether it was Google Analytics or the universe sent me you, Nat.
Or Siri listening.
Yes. And you popped into my Facebook feed. And I remember, being a psychologist, I do have quite a busy full-on schedule. And I actually opened your the notification that I saw on, and the seminar that you run was literally the next morning. So my first thoughts were, well, I'm actually not available for that because I've got clients, and but there was just something in me that said you need to make this happen, and I cleared the schedule, and then I attended your half-day seminar, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and this literally, guys, those of you that are listening, was 3.5 months ago. We were just talking before we went live that our next retreat's coming up next week, and Kate was at the previous one, which was just in August. So it hasn't even been the full 12 weeks between the retreats that everything has come about and completed, and the book is now in hand. as you can see, with her. And this happened last week, right? The first book came in last week, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's very fast, but it is, I have to credit you that you did work very diligently. As soon as you committed to the process, you actually continued typing and had your session with Stuart and actually submitted your book in for editing even before you came to the retreat, so you could focus on some of the other aspects of the marketing and not be as stressed, you know, trying to smash out 40,000 words in the 48 hours, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So why don't we explain a little bit to those listening what Drop the Act is about, what will they get out of reading it, and a little bit, tell me a little bit about the story and, you know, the passion of the content.
Okay, so Drop the Act is actually, I guess you would say, a memoir. So it's a series of short stories that are stories about my life, some of the members of my family. And essentially, you know, what I talk to a lot of clients about is that from such a young age, we develop through, as humans, we are biologically wired for love and connection. So when we're at our very youngest years, we all experience moments where we can feel that love and connection is perhaps threatened, you know, whether that be through, you know, an angry parent or an emotionally absent parent or any kind of stressful environment. And what we tend to do when from very young, when we really don't have the skills to cope with that, is that we develop character versions of ourselves in order to best cope in the situations that we are, and essentially, you know, try and maintain love and connection in our lives. So then when we, you know, grow into our adult selves, there's so much of ourselves where we continue to perform in these characters rather than being true and real and authentic. So for me, I definitely grew into the character of being the good girl and doing everything right. And, you know, that sort of led to me to a situation where I was in a marriage that I thought was wonderful and amazing. And I thought the perfect husband and the perfect life and the perfect home and the perfect children. But as I really committed to my own growth, and I think that this is something that really does happen as you get older. There's part of, I think, from, you know, from our soul that has this, you know, sort of unsettling drive within that is just calling for more. And as I started to really honor that and listen to that, what I started to work on was really releasing myself from those characters and, you know, striving towards more authenticity and, you know, living a more true and real life. And so Drop the Act is a lot of those stories about really how when we want to grow, the universe will send us everything we need in order to, you know, gift us. And often that comes in the way of pain, but it's to gift us the pain and the challenges in order to see where we hold those fears. So that we can, you know, experience and live and lean into those fears so that essentially we can, you know, release ourselves from those and really work towards living a wholehearted life.
I love that. So for other people who are listening to this, really the pain is some kind of a lesson that we need to learn.
Yeah, look, I speak so often about, and it's a concept that is really foreign to so many people. I don't think we've ever really been taught to embrace our pain and really understand that, you know, that no one can actually cause us pain. No one can create any sort of feeling in us or any pain in us unless we already hold that within us. So, you know, part of my story is that I left my husband and my so-called perfect life and fell in love with my best friend of 20 odd years who happens to be a woman. So there was a lot of judgment that came along with that. But it's about recognizing that, you know, if that judgment is coming to me through those experiences in life, you know, essentially that's because I already hold the pain and the fear of judgment in my soul. And so Yeah, absolutely. You know, everything that comes to us is like a mirror reflection of what we already hold within us. And
Yeah,
so, if we can embrace the pain of what comes our way, we can really allow ourselves to, sit in that pain,
yeah,
and really lean in to be able to move through it rather than, set up camp in our pain. And, when we don't take those lessons, the universe just sends us.
keep sending them.
Yeah. And why does this keep happening to me?
Mm.
And it's about really shifting into that, why is this coming for me? What's the lesson in this for me? So pain is our greatest gift.
Yeah, and things we don't like in other people, or things that just don't sit well with us, it's often very powerful if you can ask yourself, where is that within me that I don't like about myself?
Absolutely. Like you said, Nat, it's absolutely a mirror. Anything that
Yeah.
rattles you or, creates any kind of reaction within you
Mm.
is, usually a mirror reflection coming from that other person. So our greatest teachers are often the people that press our buttons, or, cause us pain. They're the people who are here to teach us, what we're carrying within us that really, that we want to heal so that we can raise our vibration and live, a wholehearted life.
So you just mentioned that word healing. Let's go on to that. How does someone begin? Because I think maybe step one, as you are like, step one is to recognize what's annoying us, what's pissing us off, what doesn't feel good. How is that a mirror to what's going on in our inner world? Because wasn't there a saying that we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are?
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know if it's the
love
exact
that.
wording. So it's say we recognize and brought awareness, which is really a massive step even just to take.
Yes.
What would be the next step towards healing? Like what is it that you did, or maybe what is it that you recommend to some of your clients? Because obviously I know you run retreats and programs and things like that where people go deep in
Yes.
this kind of work, but maybe give us a little sneak
Okay.
here.
So, look, I would probably summarize that to say that, vulnerability is,
Yeah.
vulnerability is the birthplace for love and connection. Brene Brown speaks about, the power of vulnerability. And so when we have all these, emotions that cause us pain,
Yes.
particularly things like shame, judgment, lack of worth, they're emotions that generally as humans we don't like. We don't like them, we don't like the way they feel, and we tend to really want to lock them away and hide them. And we only want to show up in that character. We want to show up in that character of who we think the world wants us to be. And if we are this character, we'll be accepted and we'll be loved. So vulnerability is the place where you can visit that pain and really, experience that, um, experience the real experience of the pain and the emotion. So being vulnerable enough to lean in, being vulnerable enough to, really visit that pain. So our knee-jerk reaction is to shut it off and shut it away. When we run our retreats, and I actually just finished a retreat this weekend, and we do a massive group in terms of bringing that vulnerability into the space. So speaking about what you feel is your greatest weakness, speaking about your deepest fears and your pain, and what we see happens, particularly when it's in a group setting of like-minded souls, that when you can really step into that vulnerability, which takes so much courage, that actually creates this connection, this sense of love and connection with those around you who are willing to be vulnerable enough too. It really, being vulnerable. And when I run these groups at the retreats, I always say I will never ask of anyone what I won't do myself. And so I'll always put myself in that space of vulnerability. And you can see that immediately, as soon as you show that courage and be brave enough to be vulnerable and bare some, raw part of yourself, that it creates this connection amongst those around you, and the energy of those around you soften. So we're bringing our darkest fears and our, you know, the things that we dislike about ourselves, but it's actually, you know, something that really bridges a connection with other people.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, and you as a leader, you're kind of going, I'm willing to go there, so come with me. And I love the word that you used, visit the pain, you know, not stay there.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
that I really like. That's a really nice word to use, because you're only visiting. You're not gonna, you know, live, because
Yes.
sometimes people don't they live there, they get stuck,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
We
that's
set up shop there, and you
yeah,
know, we want to stay there and we want to live in it, and that's again where it just keeps coming back and coming back. And
yeah,
but it's about visit and learn how to actually move through it, and a lot of that is about energy. You know, when we can really visit the energy of, you know, say for instance judgment, and how that shows up in our body, when we can actually lean into that and learn how to recognize how that shows up in our body, and
yeah,
then learn how to, you know, sort of release that energy and bring in, you know, love and compassion. And
yeah,
that's actually where the healing happens, when we can transform, you know, sort of like a dark energy and really bring
yes.
in, you know, a light energy. And, you know, love is the highest vibrating emotion. So the more of that energy we can bring in, the more healing we do, which is essentially, you know, understanding and embracing the idea that we are our greatest healer. We have everything we need within us to heal.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think what we're speaking about now is easier done in groups versus completely on your own?
Look, I've worked as a, you know, sort of soul practicing psychologist for 24 years, and no doubt that there is, you know, so much power that comes with being, you know, in a group setting. You know, a group setting initially really does heighten people's anxieties because you can't hide. It's
Yeah.
much harder to hide, but
Mm,
when you can, um, you know, amongst a group of like-minded souls, when you can really find that safe space, the
yeah.
power of sharing amongst people, and the power of, you know, seeing someone step into their vulnerability and you know, bare themselves. What you
Mm,
see happen is this ripple effect where it really gives other people permission to do the same.
mm,
And so, you know, inevitably in every retreat that we've ever done, you know, the anxiety is there at the start of the retreat, and
yeah.
by the end, there is just so much love and acceptance,
Connect.
and connection. It's like absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah. I see that happen at my retreats, and my retreats are not about mindset. You know, always day one, everyone's like, who's this person? Like building of the rapport and the safety of the environment. I always find my first day the hardest because of that settling the nerves. Everybody, including me, even though I've met some of these people beforehand, it's just that rebuilding of the connection. And as you say, I do believe group work is more powerful than one-to-one,
Mm,
because in a group you might have a transformation, not even like say the expert, say you are looking after 10 to 20 women, right? And you might be helping a woman there, say she is in the spotlight. Someone else might get the transformation from what you just did with her because of what went through, because they're sitting there listening and kind of relating it to their own experiences, and the value just hundredfolds, I believe. Because the question, same as in my retreats, you know, when you ask a question and someone asks a question, everyone like brings out a volume of questions that it couldn't have just come from that one person. That power of masterminding, right?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, it
I
was
love that.
interesting you say that, Nat, because after I attended your retreat,
Mm.
um, I remember saying, oh, I can feel what other people feel when they attend my retreats, even though it was quite different in terms of what we're working on. But just the connection that you feel with other people. And we did this over,
Yeah.
you know, over Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the connection that you feel when you see other people taking steps forward, and it inspires you. And when you see people hit a bump, and you can have empathy and compassion for that, and you might reach out and offer something, and so that connection just exists when you come together as a group. And the power of that is goes way beyond one-on-one work. There's so much room to hide in one-on-one work. Group work is not only sort of really gets you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, but just so much power in that sharing and bringing so many people and what they offer into that one space.
And I think you end up making lifelong friends and connections, and opportunity to collaborate. Depends on what kind of group it is, but I think just like you said, bottom line, we're wired for love and connection. In a group, that's exactly what we're going to get. We're not going to get that one-on-one. Yeah, you might have a connection to your mentor, coach, whatever you want to call it, psychologist. But when you're in a group, like, it's not just the value from the person that's the leader in that scenario. It is the other people there, because everyone's got a genius zone. Everyone's got something to bring to the table, which is a wonderful thing to experience. So tell me a little bit about what next. Like, what are you've been a psychologist for 24 years, and you've done your, what is it, like, you've paid your dues in terms of all the one-on-one. I know your vision was to do more of these retreats. Talk to me about the future. Like, now the book's come out, what's the next 12 months to 2 years look like?
So we are definitely planning more retreats. So up until now, we've done all our retreats out at Elm Lodge, which is my partner's property in Oakdale, which is country New South Wales. And that property is beautiful in terms of the connection with the land. We're taking our retreats up to Long Island in the Whitsundays. Our first one is actually in November, so 1 month away.
Wow.
But yeah, very excited about, up at the Whitsundays, for anyone that has been up there, the connection up there with the water and the islands is just magical. So to be able to do some of that work up there and teach people, that how to actually connect with the environment and the water, and the energy of the water and the energy of the universe, because there's so much healing to be had by just being able to stop and connect in those amazing places that we are so lucky to have at our doorstep. So I'm also doing some speaking events in terms of, running off the back of Drop the Act. I just have so much passion around helping people to really find their authentic self. I think something that I have when I work with people is that, I can often see beyond the characters that they play. I can often see beyond
what they don't say.
Yeah, absolutely. Which can be confronting sometimes, but it's just, really lights me up to be able to help people, release themselves from those layers and release themselves from the shackles that keep them small and hold them back, and, really help people to step into, the greatest power of who they are. So to be able to, speak and share that with bigger groups of people really lights me up. So I'm very much looking forward to doing some of those speaking events. And well, you know me, Nat, once I get started, I can talk all day.
Exactly. And you've got so much value that needs to be shared, and this is the way. From speaking, you can help more people, make them aware that the retreats exist, get the groups of people there. And I think your retreats have a great potential of having people reattend, because of, it's never ending work on ourselves, that we have to do that, and so, it's that kind of creating a community as well.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing, I just believe, even though sometimes I curse and swear at the lessons, I'm like, how many more can there be?
Yeah,
But, we continue growing till the day we die.
yeah,
That's the purpose of our experience here, on earth and as a human, is that we've chosen to come down in this life to live and experience the challenges so that we can, raise our vibration and experience the greatness that we have. So the growth journey never ends.
yeah, I agree. Someone said it, I don't know who said it, you're either green or growing or you're ripe and rotting,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. So tell me, like, what was the process like? Let's talk about, the book. You found that ad, you cleared your calendar, you came to the half-day seminar, and literally your retreat probably was a month away, not even.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the one that you did with us. And yes, ours are virtual right now, right? And we're about to do the 14th virtual one. So overall 42. But the convenience of it being virtual, because people used to fly into us and like we'd pick up people at the airport, take them to the venues around like in the Melbourne surrounds and whatever. It was crazy logistics and it was quite tiring, right? For the 48 hours, what it is. So moving this model for us is a preferred way because you guys get to focus on doing the work and writing the books rather than being distracted by social interaction. So
Yes.
how was it for you, like going through, you obviously focus, had your session with Stuart, you actually finished the book and then came to the retreat?
Yes. Look, I found for me, obviously, already, running a business and having my psychology practice, for it to be online was very convenient for me, to be able to sort of like fit everything in. I don't feel like being online took anything away from my experience. You guys are so thorough and you're such a driving force. And I think if you're just willing to dive in and
Yeah,
just say, I'm a whole body yes to this,
yeah,
for me, it was just keep up with what you were telling me to do. It was like, right, this is the next step. And I'm like, let's do it. And here's the next step. And sometimes it feels like there's lots.
never
But
ending steps.
I know, right? But I always remember what you said. Everything is hard when it's
Every beginning is hard.
every beginning is hard. That's it. Every beginning is hard. And writing a book is a pain in the ass for a short time.
Temporarily.
Temporarily, yes. And it's very true because now that I have book in hand, you look back and I think, well, it wasn't really that hard at all, was it?
No.
To be honest.
It's like giving birth, right? It's hard in the moment while you're doing it, but then
Yeah,
you're like a few months later, oh, you've forgotten about the pain, the baby's here, the book baby,
yes, yes.
all that stuff. But
But
that's why I say, just if you can just temporarily for 3 or 4 months, just
yes.
focus, you're going to save so much time than thinking. I mean, so many people come to the seminar, so I've been thinking about it 5, 10, 20, if not more, because generally our clientele are 40, 45 plus, right? And they've been thinking since teenagers or their 20s and all that sort of stuff, or being told like what you said for a while. And it's just make it a commitment, just smash it out, like I say,
Yeah.
and get on with the things you can do now. Because I really, in the next 2 years, my vision, I would like to see you like just be doing a lot of group work and be able to maybe wind down your one-to-one
Yeah.
and just transition your business to up level, growing again, right?
Well, and that's the thing. You can do anything you want to do, anything you
Yeah,
want to do. And, like I certainly had some doubts through the process a bit. You can get overwhelmed and,
yeah.
but you live by that motto. I try my hardest to embrace that motto. And, last week when the book arrived in the mail, I, honest to God, was like a kid at Christmas. It was
Yeah,
absolutely.
I saw your little TikTok here or whatever you want to call it, boomerang. It was so cute. I love it. So where can people get the book and find out more about what you do? I'm just going to flash up your website. If you can just sort of spell out in case people are watching this or listening to this as an audio.
Yeah.
the website is Kate Glancey. Do you want to sort of spell that out?
Yes, so it's Kate, Kate, and Glancey is GLANCEY.com /book if you want the page where you can buy the book.
Yeah.
There is also a link on that page to our website where all the information is about our retreats. So the retreat website is actually...
This is the one you're going to in the week Sundays. And
Yeah.
this is the one in your partner's
at Oakdale, yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What is this? Is it a massive tree?
Yeah, so it's a tree that has rotted out from the inside out, and
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing. You can stand on the inside of the tree and you can actually feel the energy of being in the tree. It's really quite beautiful, the properties.
I was about to ask you what's it like to stand inside.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And look, X amount of years ago, I would have said, what do you mean stand in a tree? And you can feel, but when you learn how to connect with the land and the universe and the environment around you, you can feel the energy of that. So, but so that will take you over to the elmlodgewellness.com.au website, and that's where all our retreat information is.
I love that. So go through that website, guys, kateglancy.com, and was it .com.au or .com?
kateglancy.com.
Just the .com, yeah. So it's a global thing. That's what I did with mine as well. So I love that. No, that's beautiful, and highly recommend it. Kate really knows what she's doing, and she takes care of people in a beautiful way. I always, whenever I speak to my authors, I just want to do their stuff. Like I feel like, I want to do this. Like,
yes,
you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yes.
I gotta remind myself of that, because I'm like, yeah.
Whit Sundays, Nat. Whit Sundays.
Yeah. It's 2023. I've got my calendar ready to fill out with. Well, it's already filled out. That's the thing. It's now finding spots. Anyway, thank you so much for coming today. I'm super excited, so proud of you. How quickly you go, bam, 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 all the steps. I told you, psychologists are one of my favorite authors, because they're so compliant. And it's funny, it's come full circle, because I studied psychology and psychophysiology. I just have a bachelor's degree in it, but how it's come full circle that I get to hang out and work with you guys now through this, which is really amazing. And more, I think this is what ultimately shifts awareness and changes our world for the better.
Yes.
So I'm going to leave it on that, guys. Remember, go get Kate's book, Drop the Act. It's amazing, and she's amazing. And even if you can, go inquire about their retreats and do some self-healing, because we can all do more of that to be in true alignment. All right, have an amazing week, guys, and smash it out.
Smash it out.